Malcolm Turnbull and Josh Frydenberg have opted to try to keep the lights on. They have not chosen to deliver you the cheap and plentiful electricity and, importantly, gas that you used to get and you still could and indeed should get in the future. They have also turned their and the government's collective back on what is not only a golden opportunity to win the next election, but arguably the only way to do so, nailing Labor leader Bill Shorten on his commitment to guarantee even higher power prices and blackouts. Yes, the foreshadowed ditching of the clean energy target was a step in the right direction, a step towards the guaranteed share for baseload for real as opposed to fake wind and solar energy that I called for last week. But it was not a step far enough. In particular, the government's proposed policy mix would promote more gas-fired rather than coal-fired electricity, which has been the basis of our previously cheap, plentiful and reliable electricity. This would not only mean unnecessarily more expensive gas-fired electricity, but it would be a double negative. It would also reduce the availability of gas to be used as gas, while also making it more expensive in that form. That's if it even goes anywhere. Certainly to me, watching the Turnbull-Frydenberg press conference on Tuesday, I had the overwhelming sense that it was watching an exercise in pointlessness, that I was witnessing another one of those Turnbull light bulb moments which would just fade away. And, I agree with Terry McCrann there. That's Turnbull in spades. Policy on the run without conviction or a real determination to see a vision through. Impossible if you have no vision apart from the motivation to remain PM. And that's basically Malcolm for you. It's all about Malcolm, not the country. Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull has pushed back against calls to remove GST from electricity bills, expressing concern about the multi-billion-dollar impact on state and territory government budgets and observing other taxes could just be increased to compensate for the shortfall. Well, that's great. Glad to see Turnbull is so keen to financially drip-feed state governments that have shown total irresponsible with their own spending. Look at the billions wasted on diesel plants, which are still draining tax coffers. Remember, Shay Andrews in Victoria blew over $1 billion to scrap a freeway project, and his mate Weatherall in South Australia blowing up a coal-fired plant, plunging his South Australia into darkness. Maybe we'd be better off with states not having control of the purse strings. Alternatively, we could be just better off without having states. Australian Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull has suggested household power bills would fall by an average of $110 to $115 a year from 2020 under his game-changing plan. But Mr Turnbull dodged questions on whether he could guarantee the average household power bill would come down about $115 a year from 2020 to 2030. And he wonders why people don't trust him anymore. This man has the gravitas of a dust mite. We have got affordability now in the energy debate due to our work. We have got reliability into the energy debate due to our work. We have got security into the energy debate due to our work, One Nation Senator Malcolm Roberts said. But we still have to wait until 2020 for the renewable energy subsidies to be scrapped. Scrap them now, Malcolm. For once in your life, act decisively. Of course you can't. It's not in your nature. You're a prevaricator, a ditherer. You'd rather call an inquiry or set up a meeting than take decisive action. Finally, no word on nuclear energy. By any measure, Australia is an energy superpower. We're the world's largest exporter of coal. We have abundant sources of renewable energy, and by 2020, Australia will be the largest exporter of liquefied natural gas. And yet, this apparently lucky country is now in the grip of an energy crisis. We only produced 6,110 tonnes of uranium in 2014-15. rather less than the 67 million tonnes of coal we burned or the 392 million tonnes we exported. But what's 6,110 tonnes of uranium oxide in PJs? About 2,592 PJ according to the energy update. That's right, 123 times more energy than solar PV, but not all PJs are equal. Burning stuff produces around 2 PJs of heat for every 1 PJ of electricity. That's not because engineers are incompetent. It's a consequence of the laws of thermodynamics. Smart people use the heat for heating. Fancy that. Desalination or other industrial processes. So if you used uranium for electricity rather than heat, then you can cut that 123 down to about 40, meaning that our 6,110 tonnes of uranium exports would produce about 40 times more electricity than our solar PV plus a lot of heat. A solid investigation of our energy problems would at least have had asked the obvious question: why don't we use our uranium instead of just exporting it? We need more efficient coal-fired stations now. We need cheaper gas now. We need to begin the process of building nuclear power plants now. And finally, Winston Peters gives Labor the nod in New Zealand election, ensuring the death knell to New Zealand's recent economic resurgence. A classic example of politics over sensible economics. Sometimes I just wish our politicians had no control of the economic levers.